So we're now back to this full-time bootcamp where we're entering the second week. And we have a little bit of a situation, is that some of our friends here could not attend the first week, so we will do our best to somehow combine the kind of like catch up over lecture videos and labs and any other interactive we can help. Don't worry, William, you're not alone. So we have, how many people here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Wait, how do we have 7? Yeah, that's great. So we're missing Sine and Fu. And now, even for this week's assignment, some people still need more time. So we can do a deadline extension for this assignment. And however, for those who are catching up, just do know that you guys will need to put a little more effort in just proactively reaching out, getting help. A bit of time, definitely a bit more time too, of course. Okay, so with assignment, it was due last night. We're flexible with in terms of time that you want to make it. Obviously, I did not want to put it like midnight so you can actually go to sleep. But if you want to do a final stretch, improving your app, make the video look a little bit better, that's fine. Is this deadline weekly okay with you guys? Is there any request, suggestion on what to change it to? Okay. Typically we want to have the deadline the day before class, 24 hours maybe, but obviously this is not 24 hours, so that we can highlight the best submissions every week and do a little bit of a review on the homework. So we not only learn in the process of doing the assignment, updating the README with the tasks that you've done, but we also learn through talking about what are the good ideas that people have implemented and what are some of the common gotchas, any other questions. So reviewing the assignment is an important component. That's it, because it's the first week, submitting an assignment can be really confusing to some. So the way, what we ask is that we ask everyone to submit the code to GitHub and record a walkthrough of the app. That's called recording the screencast of the app. So on Slack, I provided a few suggestions, a few tools. And in the assignment, normally we'll try to provide an example. So here's, for example, is the app. It sort of gives an idea and inspiration of, okay, I can make something that it's along this idea or make it better than this, etc. Okay, so some of your best work will go into the future class as well. It's like, look, your buddies from the people from the last class could implement this much, and definitely you guys are encouraged to try something similar. So this is the first one. So you see, this is Loi's example, and I will walk through this stuff a little bit later on. So how to submit it? If obviously I'm an instructor, so I cannot submit the app, but if I change, here's the form, and would like people to put a link to the GitHub repo. So for this class, I think a lot of people put our recommendation, put the repo in the same, put the exercise assignments in the same repository, week 1, week 2, week 3. If you don't, then you can just link to that specific repo. If you do, you can link to the right path. Okay, so for example, bootcamp Ruby is our demo place, and then let's say if I submit it under to do here, then you can copy this and then put the path to it. Okay. Here's the cool thing: if you have a GIF file, ideally, if you have a GIF file, you don't even need to upload it anywhere else. You could use click on the GIF file, okay, and this is a bit odd. Get the, right click here, copy image address. Right? So that's the image address that you entered. Basically, it will just change to raw.github, blah blah. But this is the URL that you can embed to a website. So you could actually just paste that here. So this is an example, right? If you upload it to YouTube, you can paste the YouTube link here as well. If you do video, if a walkthrough is too long, GIF is not ideal in a way. If it's like 10 minutes long, which we don't mind, but then make it a video. A GIF will be pretty difficult because it's not compressed. It will be difficult for any computer to play. So then you enter the hours here and any other notes. Okay. Then the notes you can add in the README file as well. So the notes here are just some extra stuff that maybe it's just private between you and the class. Any question about the submit form? Technically yes, but I don't know why you would submit a branch. So, but when you're done, please merge into master. It's just really confusing when you submit something with multiple branches and we don't know what to look at. So tools are powerful, but definitely do not abuse them. Like, more is not better. One branch.
One more question.
Yes.
What's the main purpose of the walkthrough video? Is it for you guys to, like, for me to showcase the whole app, for me to just show it a little bit, or?
Yeah, so it's a little bit is fine.
Okay.
The purpose here is that, let's say, if someone doesn't have time to try your app, if someone, has problem running your app and they want to figure out, like, what did you do to, what they can expect. And then sometimes if your app is too long, maybe it's too complicated, you can just focus on the most interesting parts. So initially, some of you may feel like I'm going to spend, it's too much to think. I just record and I just walk through, I use my app. That's okay. And then over time though, you will develop this habit. You feel like, oh, if I do a walkthrough, it probably only takes 20 seconds to show the best parts of my app. It's a process though. When the first time you do it, you feel like, if I only jam it in 20 seconds, I cannot do that. That's just too much of a headache. Does it make sense?
Yep.
Like if you, it's really useful in general if you work on an open source project, if you work on anything really, just creating it's sort of part of your workflow, creating the screen, instead of screenshot now, just do a GIF and then send it over. So I use Cloud App, and I would just click on it and then get a GIF and I can show, send to people. You guys could use Recorded. Recorded's a bit wacky. I'm going to show you in a second. Okay. Now, also, if you do this submit thing, then we will be able to review the app. We can send you some review. So, under assignment, I have a few submitted assignment here. Let's say, here's a submission. Unfortunately, the recorded tool that I recommend you guys use. Thank you very for doing it successfully. Unfortunately, the link sort of expires so quickly. It's really silly. So you give me this link, and then basically, because it's a GIF, they don't want to store the GIF on the server because the file is very big. It's uncompressed, so they only store the video version. Then basically, if you do this, it will show you the video again, right? And if I click on GIF, it will generate that GIF file again. And then if I go here, then I get the GIF file, so I can easily review. So for the future stuff, one way you could do is to go here and save the file locally and push to GitHub with your repository. And you can embed that into your Markdown. Who here knows how to embed the GIF file into a markdown? All right. So I'm going to showcase the best submission by using it that way. Okay. So let's see. So imagine I have VS Code open, and once again I'm showing that for this class, always learn to use VS Code to be a better VS Code programmer. It will just save you a lot of time if you take any tool you use seriously. So I have in here, I have a few submission. If you send me the a raw file, so I don't. But ideally in the future, everyone just send me a GIF file like this, right? And VS Code is first. You see that it's cool. It's not only for text file. It can show you this GIF file here, right? It can even show you. Well, in some cases, this is like a really large GIF file. Maybe difficult to see, but I have a markdown file, and this is the syntax. So, for example, here I say best homework 1 submission. Okay, and I'd like to highlight, for example, this is markdown syntax, something you guys have to learn on your own as well, but it's really, really simple. It's the header. And in the case of, if it's a link, this is a link to the assignment. So then, for example, assignment 1, and I say link to assignment 1, I will try to hyperlink it to the web page. So then I do a square bracket here. Yeah. And then the text this is the text I want to see the link, and then this is a parenthesis.
There's no space between the
no
brackets,
space,
right?
No space. So hide the sidebar so we see there's no space. Okay. So link. If you want to say search, and then same thing you can do with Google. Make sure it's HTTP there. Okay. And then now, if for an image, you want to embed it. You want to embed an image, normally, by the way, after the header, put some space to it. If you want to embed an image, then add an exclamation mark. Okay, and then here's the cool thing. The file in here can be relative to the path of the README file. It means it can stay in the same GitHub repository. So you have your own walkthrough, no problem. If I say oscar.gif here, where does it look? It look in the same folder as this week 1 folder, and then I find oscar.gif. Okay? And as you on VS Code,
That's how you did your GitHub. Right?
if you're on VS Code, there is another thing down up here, open preview to the side. If you click on it, obviously I can preview without this panel, so let me see if I can just make it the main panel. Alright, so here are the best submission. So I really like Oscar's version because it's really clean and straightforward. As you can see, the instruction, I think the purple text is a little hard to see on my screen here, but it includes the good ideas we discussed, right? And in the future, like Oscar just asked, do I have to show everything? No. For example, you don't have to use your mouse to highlight if you don't like. It should be understood. So let's say if I watch it the first time, I don't understand. This GIF just keep repeating anyway. So I'll just watch again and I'll understand it. And the point here is not to make sure the user completely understand it, but just to show some impressive things about the work. Okay, so you can see the GIF already repeated itself. By the way, if you play a GIF on Chrome, you can download an extension to replay, pause the GIF. Sometimes we do that to view students' work. Now, so this is really cool. How do you mark something is done? You type done and then you type a number, right?
You don't type anything. Like the default is if you type a number, it will mark it as either done. It will check is it done or not done, and then
Uh-huh.
mark it as
Okay.
the opposite.
Thank you very much.
So I saved that once. That
Yeah.
kind of-
That is, for example, that is a UI UX feature, right? It's not about the functionality, but it's just if you add that, it just make it much easier to use, right? And I have the same thing in my own demo as well. I'll show afterwards. As you can see here, for example, for add, how do you add?
It's not showing the full GIF.
Okay.
If you add, you type in add and then you type in the name.
Okay, so you prompt once and then you
Yeah.
prompt again.
And then remove, you type in remove and then number because I
Right.
don't want to type. So,
Type remove a number.
yeah.
It makes sense. Cool. So I think this is really really good. And another one, Kui, is a fantastic piece of work here too. And we don't just learn like, oh, okay, like these are really, advanced, like a lot of features, but we also learn of some of the simple touch people do to it. So what I like about Oscar is once the done and not done thing just by typing a number. What I like about this one first is very feature complete. As you can see, it's a bit small, but you can search, you can save it to file, and you can, standard things like remove and add. But you see, if you add something, what we do here is just type plus something and then make it add. As you start adding features to your app, you realize that things get out of control quite quickly. And sometimes simplifying your app, may be an important step every now and then. So here she's demoing saving to multiple files. Okay, so finding is cool, right? An array, and you can find items that match certain words. So if you need to find, all the tasks that is around learning, and you search for learn. So search for a keyword. Maybe you can mark all of them as it's done, right? So I thought a comment, I think plus task content, using the plus sign could be cool. Then maybe for removing, you might just start with minus something. Then you just do removal. So that it can be consistent. Secondly, if you think about saving for an app, most of the time, we probably, when you use a to-do app somewhere, they don't ask you where to save your files to, right? The user doesn't need to know that. This is not the Microsoft Word and Excel from Day anymore. We just save to the same file, and that's okay. This shows that it's more advanced, sure. But technically, you just save back to the same file. Okay? And there's another app that our other TA done did. It includes the recycle bin item. When you remove anything, it's saved to the trash. You can bring them back. You can undo the previous action. Okay, so I'm still waiting for his GIF, but I add some of those ideas. And you can think about, if I build this to-do app for myself, what are the things I want the most, right? So once again, nice colors and just a lot of advanced feature. And you don't have to make it too command line fancy. For example, if you say save -f file name, maybe you feel like, I can just tell the user to just type save space file name, or even shorter, just say save, and then you save to the default file name. So feel free to make your interface even more interesting. Yeah. So these are the best two that we go through, and then we're still missing a few more solutions. So, my solution is quite similar to Louis. This is also good. That is, it's also very clear that even though you see without the colors, the comments are all very clear. It's trying to use the some symbol there and say, hey, it's A, B, C. By the way, I think I saw you at the Japantown on Saturday.
Really?
Yeah, you were working in a coffee shop there, right? Yeah. Very hard at work. I was gonna say hi, but then no, let him work on his to-do. Okay. So for today, we're going to finish what I wrote for lab 1.5 last week on Friday. But for those of you who are ahead, you want to get started, I'm going to give you a teaser into this week, which is the HTML, CSS approach. So thanks for the work, guys. The rest of you just you now know the process, and then submit them accordingly. So Ian, thanks for the submission, but you did not use the GIF to show the thing, so you can make another GIF. If that's okay. Yeah. And to review, I will send some code review afterwards to each of you. So let's open another to-do app, and we'll talk about, let's say, open this one. Talk about using the tools. Okay. So we'll run it in the terminal. This is another simple to-do app, but then let's say it's not great, but it's just an attempt to show some minimal approach. So for example, here, it's similar to Oscar, entering a number, just toggle that, right? You sort of enter, now you just mark something is done or not done. Or if you want to add something else, let's say buy milk, it will add, but also capitalize it to the task, and then so technically you can, some people might be a little bit negligent, and then that's okay. Just ignore and strip that stuff. Or you can just say minus 1 just to remove that task, minus another 1, now it's a new one, right? Minus 2 is remove learn hash, and that can go on. Or you can be, hey, I don't want to accidentally undo any task, so I just use X instead. So X1 is to learn variable. So X is now complete something. So, there's different ways to play with the idea. So you could try this in your lab, which is to use another library besides Colorize. This library helps me print things in a table. I did not print them myself. So to show, let's revisit the structure of the app. Okay, similarly for this app, we have an item, and by now, let's revisit. You will add some more methods to the item class, and normally it should only worry about the logic inside the item class. That's clear, right? See, you may not touch it at all. That's okay. So I touch it a little bit. I did remove the attribute accessor done, because I don't want people to write .done equals true, .done equals false. I want to control the way it's set. If you want to mark anything is done, you have to call mark done, right? If you check it, you have to call done question mark. But I added something else like flip-flopping back and forth. So between done and not done, so you can do done is not done. So that's toggling. And then there's a little bit of things like, okay, you can add a status. Yeah.
So is that something like programmers do on purpose, like limit themselves to certain, like there's only one way I should do this, and then they are forced to be like uniform during the whole project?
Good question. The reason why I don't want people to use set.done equals true, because in the future I may mark status as undone, pending, cancelled, okay, like something like that. Then I would have to go and change the way, change the code everywhere, .done equals true. So if I say mark done, inside I may not store the thing as @done anymore, @done equals true anymore. I may store it at @done equals okay, or but there may be a pending status. So the implementation of the item class can stay hidden. All you need to know is that you can call mark done, and then any task, yes, you can mark it as done. Does that answer your question? So it's an encapsulation. So when you use it, you don't expose too much of the inside ways. This comes with experience, so you do not have to worry about that. It's just a little bit that you see along the way, right? Similarly, if you look at the the web. When you log in, some application may ask you to enter, first name and last name. But how they store that and middle name, how they store it in the database is up to them. Some of them actually store a full name column so that next time they print it, maybe. Or some of them store both. So you don't only map the form when people sign up exactly to what it is on the database. Does it make sense? Like, when you ask for the user, what's your username? Let's say you sign up for Gmail, right? And from then on, the username is your username at gmail.com. Does Gmail store your email address at gmail.com, or does Gmail store just your username? We don't know, but they will always use the same function to submit the form. But they can change their mind how they store the email. Same with Facebook, etc. Okay, so the reason I add something like, I need a little short and sweet status, because I use the table format, so you can see that I don't want to use the old school display anymore. Another thing that I try to do is to not use puts, because when I print to screen, then I return nil. It's not easy for me to reuse it. My display method in an item is a string, so that when I call for the list, I can always items.each and then puts item.display. So keep that in mind, that if you use printing to screen, and it's harder for you to reuse it. So this is just converting an item back to string. So do you still find that reusing a bit?
Yeah, I don't know.
So if you use put something, you print to screen, then you always print the exact string to screen, and then it just goes to the new line.
Right.
If I return a string, I can always use that string and combine with another string later, and then I use the put statement.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Better, right? For example, you want to add the number 1, 2, 3, 4 at the end, right? The number index.
Mm-hmm.
So in an item class, you don't really know the index yet, because this is just one item. The guy who knows the index is the list. So let's look at the list. Only the list know how many items there are. Item.rb doesn't know it. So I use this gem, and to explain, even though you haven't used the gem, you're not familiar with the gem, it doesn't matter. We start to learn the ability to read code. So these are shorter format that you don't have to worry about. It's like, it means that you can map things, right? You can do each, right? But now you can also do select. If you want to learn array.select. If you have an array of 100 elements, you can select and you just only get 10 elements, for example. So you just read like English, pretty much. For example, here's how you reuse a display, Oscar. That's the idea, is that if item.display is already a puts, then you cannot combine them with something else.
Right.
So in general, try to return a string and then call puts outside.
Yeah, because if that was puts, then I would have to do puts plus puts.
Yeah, but then a puts just print to a new line anyway,
line,
so it's
okay.
pretty tricky. Okay? So there is obviously this is a bit much to read, and I don't expect you to understand. And showing it isn't, you start to feel comfortable, it's okay, this I don't really understand, but maybe what he's trying to do is he used the gem terminal table to create a new table. But when you create a table, it needs rows, so it's taking a key, it's rows. Rows is an array. So but then, what we're doing here is we're mapping a list of items to a bunch of rows. Again, don't worry if you feel like, okay, this is odd, but you can ask questions now. What I'm saying is map is always an array of 10 items to an array of 10 items, right? But I'm mapping from the initial array, so it could be items that have been done, or items that have not been done, or all items. I map them as an argument, into something else that is an array of arrays here. And the array will be the first one is status, the second one is name, the third one is the index. And that's what you see down here. Status, name, and index. And then the gem takes care of, you know, filling out the tables for me. You can try that in the lab right after this. Right? And there's just a little note that there's no map underscore with index. It's only each underscore with index. So, but you can do map dot with index. And why? We'll just have to learn later. Map return a special type. You know, dot map returns a special type. On that you can call dot with index, or you can give it a block like what you guys have been doing. So that's list and item, but the program will not work, you know, without the thing that talks to the user. So that's our to-do class, and the to-do class does need pretty much, you know, just need a prompt method and a display method. Either you prompt the user or you display things to the user. So I repeat, and then my program just basically asks the user, hey, what do you want to do? And display. Oh, hey, what do you want to do? Exit. Okay, get out. Right? And the way I handle some of this then is specific. It's just to demonstrate the idea. You don't have to worry about some of the advanced Ruby syntax. But this code is also available on GitHub if you want to check it out. Now, Markdown file. So I encourage us to keep this structure, the bullet, and then the square bracket. Yeah, so don't use txt file anymore. Just do .markdown when you use it to store your to-do list. So README file is important for any of your project. You always need a readme.md. This is just a human reason. It's not a Ruby or computer reason or anything. So by now, for example, right, I can mark my program can load to-do items, and then I can mark an existing item as done. I can add a new item, and I can I don't save it back to file yet, so I can implement that. But feel free to add more things and make it even clearer. So this is the overview of the homework, and now the lab. What we did last time was until here. And I mentioned that if you install the gem colorize, you could do some cool stuff. There is one extra lab that today I'm going to explain right after this, is how the Ruby Gems system works. Okay, and then you will just follow these milestones to improve your app further. I'll provide a few more advanced sort of some useful gems that you can check out, and then it will give you some ideas on, like, you have to decide pretty much in the real world is that for anything you want to do, there will be a bunch of libraries that do the same thing. And sometimes you want to load them and try them out quickly and decide, okay, do I want this or not? And then go do something else.